Oh, good morning and a very warm welcome back to the Hungaroring. We are qualifying for the 300th International GT Open race that started way back in 2006. And here we are, 300 races later. That'll be coming up later on this afternoon. First of all, we've got 25 minutes of qualifying. And as you can see, conditions a little bit different, a little bit cooler, much to the relief of many of the drivers who are taking part this weekend compared to yesterday, where the clouds are hanging over this Budapest circuit. Track temperature at 29 degrees this morning, air temperature at 24, so a little bit cooler than yesterday. There are threats of rain around, but I'm told they should abate throughout the course of the day, although there were a couple of drops just starting to creep out of the clouds and onto the ground as I was making my way over to the commentary box for this session. Chris Stevens here in the box alongside George Morgan. George, we've got another 25 minutes of qualifying, and after a very intense race yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great one for this particular team that's just made its way out of the chicane. Tom Empson and Tom Leben. Of course, Empson taking the wheel today for qualifying, but Tom Leben was the one who put it on pole position with an incredible lap that even he couldn't believe as he made his way back into Parc Fermé. But it was a fantastic display from those two this time. Obviously, they're going to be faced with a success handicap as per the ruling that, of course, we do carry here in the International GT Open. And we witnessed many barnstormer of battles, including from this car. Christopher Haase at the wheel ahead of qualifying 2 this time today. And he was right in the thick of the action with one Philip Ellis from Moto Park as well, in what was a very spicy affair.
It was fantastic. I asked him, are you going to be having nightmares about the rear end of that Mercedes? He was staring at the back of it for an awfully long time. He thoroughly enjoyed the fight he had there with Philip Ellis over what I think was around 7th and 8th the time. And of course, East Talent were taking quite a hefty bit of handicap. They still have 10 seconds to take in today's race over into their incredible podium form, fighting for the overall championship. Of course, the reigning champions, hence the #1 on the car, and it is the former Audi Works driver, Christopher Haase, at the wheel for this session. Also out there for this one, Tom Empson, as you mentioned there, in the car that won yesterday, Elite Motorsport, taking their first GT3 pole position and victory in a very dominant display for the British outfit. But other drivers to keep an eye on. Philip Ellis is taking part in this session as well in the championship leading Team Motor Park #11 Mercedes. Also Lucas Stoltz in the #9 Bartone Bros Get Speed car. Both of those drivers are stand-ins for the regular Mercedes factory drivers who accompany Levente Reves and Anthony Bartone respectively, but they're both on duties elsewhere this weekend in DTM and the European Le Mans Series. Who else have we got out there in this session? Tommaso Mosca might be one to watch, as well as Zach Meakin. He was very quick in the Ultimate Motorsport McLaren yesterday. Everyone tells me that we need to watch Alex Fontana as well in the Car Collection Porsche, which seems to be running very well around here. Didn't meet the checkered flag yesterday after a last lap incident for which Dominic Baumann was deemed to have done an unsafe rejoin, and that gave the Austrian a 10-second time penalty. The championship leading car taking a bit of pain in yesterday's race. There is Zach Meakin in the Optimum McLaren. Podium for himself and Mikey Porter yesterday, matching their best finish so far this season of 2nd place. It's their 2nd podium. A spin here for the 188.
Alexander West, unfortunately, currently 15th fastest. Of course, Mark Sampson partnering him this time. Usually we would see Miguel Ramos, but he, of course, has been out with illness, which, of course, all started back at Hockenheimring not long before Alexander West stepping in then for Mark Sampson. But they went on to take a wonderful result yet again in the AM class yesterday, continuing their great run as a team. Obviously, Sampson ahead in the points just due to the fact that he's raced both with Miguel Ramos and Alexander West, so West with a reduced number of points. And just back on the point of Mikey Porter, Zach Meakin, the record of British drivers winning here at Hungaroring in the International GT Open, there aren't that many. The last time we had a British pairing, or indeed British drivers at all, winning here at Hungaroring was back in 2022, Nick Moss and Joe Osborne, and there was nothing prior to that. So only our 2nd GB winner. Of course, back then it was Optimum Motorsport who took that victory with Nick Moss and Joe Osborne back in 2022, and they featured on the podium again this time. Obviously, this time taking 2nd place was Zach Meakin and Mikey Porter, but well done Tom Empson and Tom Leben. First British drivers since Joe Osborne and Nick Moss take victory here at this circuit.
That was an all-British podium, not just in terms of the teams, but in terms of the drivers as well. Union flag was flying quite high on that podium yesterday. Oregon Lamborghini here, number 19, Leonardo Polcini, has been drafted in for this weekend, but it's his teammate Robin Rogalski qualifying the car this morning. I think bringing Polcini, 2022 champion, back to the Oregon squad to try and find out where things have been going so wrong for them this year. And in fairness, they did have one of their best results of the season so far. So they're going in the right direction. Big question of can they maintain that throughout the course of the second half of the season. It's worth remembering, after today, we'll be into the second half of the campaign.
Well, I mentioned yesterday that the Oregon team actually had one of the best records at this circuit. I have to say, over the last few years, over the last 3 years, they've at least taken a victory once. You know, through the course of the weekend, with Kevin Gillardoni taking it alongside Glenn Van Berlo back in 2022. The following year, Pierre-Louis Chauvet and Max Paul in that barnstormer of a final lap, where we witnessed him go around the outside at turn 14 at this particular corner here that we're about to see, which caused quite the fireworks towards the end of the race. And of course, Leonardo Polcini in his last victory in the International GT Open, coming back in 2024 alongside Simon Connor Prim. They went on to take the victory in race 2 last year, as we now watch as the 63 makes its way up towards the line. Anton Dokan at the wheel of that one, and is currently 9th fastest behind teammate Robin Rogalski, who is 8th fastest. Welcome back, Michele Rugolo, as well, as we just see a kick up of dust. There is going to be some traffic coming through turn 13 as Felipe Salacada goes first fastest in the ISR Audi team that celebrated a recent Pro-Am success for the first time this season in the International GT Open. Michele Rugolo now coming out of turn 14 will look to try and move his way past Salacada now inside this top 10 listing. Of course, representing Am class, but Rugolo, a legend of the series, and registers a first fastest time of a 1:42.696.
So pushing early doors out there. Michele Rugolo, winner in the AM category yesterday in the number 21 AF course at Ferrari alongside Gino Fulgioni. There is the car collection Porsche, the black and gold machine there of Alex Fontana. Let's see, has he put in any sector times yet in this session? Yes, he has, but he's bailing for pit lane on this lap. You know, one of the BDR Gruppo Prom Mercedes directly in front of him, so that was going to be compromised anyway. And these early stages, some people go out on a scrub set of tyres. It's really in the second runs where people start to really put the hammer down, and we'll see the eventual pole time. This is Lucas Stoltz subbing in for Fabian Schiller, who's racing in Imola this weekend in the Bartone Bros Mercedes. But Lucas Stoltz, no stranger to the Get Speed team, of course, as a Mercedes factory driver, nor to Anthony Bartone as well. They raced together at the Rolex 24 at the start of this year. Also, big ambition for Anthony, coming out of a huge American racing family, but in drag racing rather than circuit racing. And Lucas Stoltz bringing that car around the final corner now, and should put him well within the top 5, I'd have thought. An early benchmark here, and well, 7th fastest so far for the German driver, racing in DTM last year.
And Murray Bonduelle moving into 10th fastest, as well as we see the number 4 Optimum Motorsport McLaren. Zach Meakin now 10th fastest ahead of Murray Bonduelle. We have Tommaso Mosca moving up into 4th fastest, 2 in the 51 Ferraris. We're going to take a look at a replay. This is Tom Empson, who was actually on 2 personal best sectors, but in the first 2 sectors, but unfortunately the final one not working out for him after a misadventure going through turn 12, making his way into the gravel trap. So that will put an immediate stopper to that. Currently now registered 8th fastest, so despite obviously the last sector, has managed to improve anyway regardless. Of course, he was featuring down in 26th place until that last lap was recorded, so he's now inside the top 10, so a decent steady visit. Marcelo Ramirez also on a personal best in the middle sector. Dexter Muller on return as well, green in the first 2 sectors. Christopher Haase is on a personal improvement, and then again it's just gone purple in sector 2 this time as well. But of course, he's still currently 18th in this classification so far. Of course, still 15 minutes to go until we hit the checkered flag, as Philip Salacada also hones in a green first sector as well. But here is Haase, now behind the wheel of this #1 Easterland Audi R8 LMS, coming through the final corner, and might get a nice tow here on the way up towards the line as well. Let's see where this places him. First fastest here with a 1:41, our first 1:41 of the session, a 7:21. And not a bad way to kick things off, but still, like I said, 15 minutes to go.
Definitely a pole contending car, this one, from East Talent, who made the return to the Nürburgring 24 hours with Simon Riker in an all-Austrian lineup. A very impressive 6th place finish for them. Nürburgring didn't go so well for Christopher Haase, though. Unfortunately, he was sharing a car with Luca Ludwig that weekend.
Tom Emerson has just gone second fastest as well, so a grand improvement to move up from 9th to 2nd. A little bit of a cleaner lap than the one before. No personal best, though, in the final sector, so not sure whether perhaps there was another misadventure there somewhere, but he was green in the first 2, so not bad for Emerson. Ahead of Michele Rugolo now at the moment, so we rejoin Christopher Haase, though. Not an improvement in the first sector, so just building up the lap. Might look to come in for a rethink and then head out for the final moments in qualifying. A few other drivers have done the same. Fabio Babini in the pits, so is Edouard Bacci, who also put in quite a busy display yesterday in Pro-Am class. Of course, Anton Dokan looking to recover something here for Oregon team at Lamborghini in what has been one of their toughest seasons so far to date.
It certainly has. And just dropped outside the top 15 as well, I believe, Dokan. So that lap from Emerson, an improvement, but still 7/10 away from this man, Christopher Haase. Christian Korzanowski has gone 3rd fastest and likely won't stay there, but the important thing is he's ahead of Michele Rugolo, as now Phil Ellis moves up into 3rd place as well in the Motor Park Mercedes. And it was contact for Levente Reves into the side of Yannick Mettler's car barn by SBS Mercedes at the first corner yesterday. Both cars having to do the entire race with slightly bent suspension, steering, definitely compromised race cars. That didn't stop car barn from coming away with a Pro-Am podium, although Motor Park's pace was a little bit limited, not least as well because they were also taking a handicap in that previous race as well. So could be a cleaner slate today, and at the very least Levente managed to get away without a penalty of any kind for that first corner contact. Alex Fontana here on a decent lap so far, losing a little bit of time in the middle sector, but fastest in the first sector. See what the Porsche can do as the flat 6 sings out of the final corner on the curbing on the left-hand side and drives up towards the timing line. 2nd fastest, a 10th and a bit away, and fastest in the final sector as well from Alex Fontana. And remember, he had pole position back in Portimao on his route to Pro-Am victory alongside his bronze driver Hash, who had a spin in yesterday's race, which was really just the start of troubles for this car. But Alex Fontana unhurt after a rather bizarre incident in a Carrera Cup Scandinavia race last weekend in the paddock, but will be marrying his partner Federica on Tuesday, I believe, as well. So many congratulations to both of them.
Yeah, absolutely right. The nuptials coming in. Obviously, we had the same from Vince Abril not too long ago, and brilliant to see. Alex Fontana purple in the first sector now, and looking to usher in the time with just over 11 minutes left in the session for Car Collection Porsche. Of course, they had an uncomfortable run yesterday, part of a 3-wide affair that led to Dominic Baumann rejoining the circuit, and obviously with Hash coming off the back of that incident back at Hockenheimring that saw him career into the barrier before rejoining and making contact with Marcelo Ramirez, who suffered some pretty severe damage to his car as well. Watches Fontana now, currently on a personal best in the middle sector. Lost, though, the time that he had gained to go fastest overall in that middle sector. He could yet recoup, though, coming through the final corner. We'll wait and see whether he can list that through. Currently 2nd fastest on our timing screen at the moment with just over 10 minutes and 30 or so to go. And now out to the final bend this time around to register yet another fast run. Will it be better than Christopher Haase's initial P1 lap? Not quite. 28 thousandths between them as he currently remains 2nd fastest, but leading the Pro-Am class ahead of Lucas Stoltz, Tom Emerson and Philip Ellis, but also Christian Korzanowski, 6th fastest overall, leading the AM ahead of Dominic Baumann.
of track there for Alex Fontana in the exit of turn 1. So I think this will be the lap ruined already. But 10 minutes still to go in the session. 28,000 split the top 2. It's Haase ahead of Fontana. Look at the talent we've got up there in the top 5 at the moment, with Stoltz and Empson and Ellis right in there as well. Take a closer look at the car that won yesterday, but should be looking a little bit different next year, with Ferrari announcing the Evo package available for next year, either as a brand new race car or as an upgrade package as well, and tackling things like the biggest problem that this car has, which is instability in traffic, which a lot of cars will deal with, but the Ferrari 296 has been described more like a prototype than a GT car. It's the most aero-dependent car on the racetrack, therefore it is the most susceptible to dirty air, and that's something they've addressed with next year's car, as well as Dexter Muller here in the car barn by SBS Mercedes, and that's Yannick Mettler, his pro driver, just giving him some advice. I think I heard use more track on the exit of 11, and just getting that little bit of extra coaching there in the middle of the qualifying session. It was second for them in Pro-Am yesterday, and I need to actually work out the drop scores in the Pro-Am Championship because they missed Spa, so it looks really bad for them in the championship, but of course that will count as their drop score. And so with the run of form they've had in terms of their podium finishes, they've been on the podium in all bar one race they've contested so far this year. They should be right in there in the thick of the action.
Yeah, no question. I think they will be. Obviously, there is still another half of the season to go. We do, of course, have Paul Ricard coming up next as well in just over 2 weeks' time. There's now Racing Trevor rejoin, with Antal Zygo now making his way around the circuit in the BMW M4. That, of course, was also right in the thick of things with Max Hesse qualifying the car yesterday and showing some really phenomenal pace.
And Antal acquitted himself very nicely yesterday in his first sort of big GT3 race, been competing in the Central and Eastern European Championship. This is by far and away probably the most competitive field he's raced in. I'm told this car lost about 12 seconds in the pit stop phase yesterday when the engine wouldn't fire up as expected. So there is yet more speed to come from this Racing Trevor run BMW, the first appearance of the M4 Evo in the International GT Open that's seen an and with Max Hesse as well, where he's competing in that Eastern European Championship, and I'm told they're going to be rejoining us at Monza as well for the 500 kilometers, and potentially teeing up a full season campaign next year, which would be very nice to see.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant to obviously witness yet another manufacturer join us for yet another full season of International GT Open racing. We haven't seen many BMWs in recent time, I have to say, but always great to have them when they do show up. We've got Dexter Muller now coming through turn 13 and putting his foot down to the floor with one final corner remaining, and as he now beckons his way around, obviously looking to feed off the advice that was provided him by Yannick Mettler, who incidentally went fastest through the course of the weekend in free practice 1 with a 1:43.418, as now Dexter Muller crosses the line and sets his next lap time onto the board. Currently 27th fastest as it stands. He makes his way down through towards turn 1 in the Mercedes AMG GT3. In terms of elsewhere, Philip Salicata with a green middle sector. Of course, we mentioned ISR Audi doing relatively well, managing to marshal in a first Pro-Am victory earlier on in the campaign. Also, not to mention James Kell, currently down 17th, will need to start making some moves, and Sharpish, the championship contender car that we believed coming into the start of the season, and you would have been right to believe that as well based on what we saw back at Portimao, but it just seems like since then things have gone relatively afoul for the McLaren team at Greystone, and obviously after Spa especially, where the double points weekend, which really they should have grasped with both hands. They were on for an incredible victory. They had an unassailable lead, and then in came the electrical failure that then brought an end to their race. I'm not sure whether they smashed a mirror or whatever they did, but whatever it is, it's not working.
Cats, forgot to throw some salt over their shoulders, walked under some ladders.
It does seem that way though, doesn't it? I mean, it's unbelievable.
If anyone's got a rabbit's foot, send it over to the Greystone garage as well, because Lord knows they need it right now. Although yesterday was a bit more of a return to the form we're used to seeing, with them back on the podium. Although potentially the damage has already been done in terms of the championship. Dexter Muller here in the car barn by SPS Mercedes. Currently 12th in the Pro-Am standings in this session. And making his way around the final corner, he's got Alfredo Hernandez just behind him on the racetrack as well. This is the Tsunami car. It's Fabio Babini qualifying that car today, isn't it? The Italian, dual campaigning in GT Cup Europe as well, but they're not with us this weekend, so you can put full focus on to the GT3 car. Philippe Salacana here bringing the ISR Audi over the timing line. ISR here with 2 cars this weekend, an additional entry which is the 23 of the Malcharek family, the father and son combination. That's the 75 on that lap, moving up to 6th in the Pro-Am standings. Bit of shuffling's gone on. Tom Empson has moved a little bit closer to Christopher Haas's benchmark time, and Michele Rugolo has gone 4th fastest in the meantime as well. So taking back provisional and pole position from Christian Korzanowski, but we'll see if anything happens with that. And Tommaso Mosca in the AF Corsa Ferrari, number 51, going up to 3rd fastest now. So it's Audi, Porsche, Ferrari inside the top 5.
Yeah, Aaron Walker also moving up to 6th fastest and 2nd fastest in Pro-Am at the moment, ahead of Fabio Babini at this moment. Also, James Kell briefly inside the top 10, made himself initially 9th fastest, now dropped down to 11th place, but personal best lighting up elsewhere. Murray Bondwell also putting in a fastest, or certainly their fastest first sector here for BDR Grupo Prom. James Kell, green again in the first sector too, so it's all coming in. A wide moment though for Tom Empson, coming through turn 8 and turns 9. And later now turns 10 before he hits turn 11 at the end of this particular straight. So he'll be forfeiting time, no question. There should be a deletion there, I would imagine, for that. A few cars have found turn 11 a little bit tricky as well. Very easy to catch the runoff and into the gravel. Again, coming out of turn 12 through turn 13. So not, should we say, a harmonious visit on this lap here for Tom Empson, who is digging so deep for... Yeah, I mean, he's had a taste of P1 glory already in qualifying with Tom Leben going fastest, and obviously after the win yesterday, it's probably given him quite a bit of confidence to make his way around the track. There is Tom Leben inside the Elite Motorsport garage. Of course, this car for Elite, the only GT3 they possess, and the only GT3 they plan to run in the distant future. So Empson and Leben very much flying the flag for Elite Motorsport in the world of sports car racing. And
of course also racing in GB3 this weekend here at the Hungaroring as well. They've made an overseas trip to Budapest. Now I don't think this is going to be the lap for Tom Empson either, because he's already run wide on the exit of the first corner. He has got enough time to get over the line for one final push lap. Of course, this is the car that qualified on pole position yesterday at the hands of Tom Lebon, and then went on to take victory as well. And oh, and a swapper through turn 4 as well, just keeping it, I think, within the bounds of the racetrack. Alex Fontana, meanwhile, has gone fastest in the first sector. Here he is coming out of the turn 6 and 7 chicane, then into the real heart of the lap, and he's absolutely smashed it, 2.5 tenths up on Christopher Haas's time. He is also just about to start his first lap of this final run as well, but Fontana looking very, very strong. How quick is that traffic in front of him going to be moving? It's a personal improvement in the middle sector, but still up on Haas's benchmark time, and it's not an improvement from Christopher Haas on this lap. In fact, 3 tenths down on what Fontana's done on this tour of the circuit, and so this traffic shouldn't get in the way of Fontana too much if he gets a neat run through here. He has been very quick through this final sector before. So Alex Fontana in the car collection Porsche drives up towards the timing line. Is it provisional pole? Yes, it is, by 48 thousandths of a second. He pips the reigning champion Christopher Haas. We'll see how this lap continues to unfold for the German as well. And Tommaso Mosca is on a good one here. 2 personal bests, but he's bailed out of it.
Yeah, also Haas purple in the middle as well, but obviously that first sector could be the difference maker. He's just trying to undo the damage that first sector has done.
3 tenths up.
3 tenths up, so that would be enough. Theoretically, it's fastest on track right now. He's making his way around turn 14. This could be a very unceremonious visit here for Haas. Well, he'll be celebrating, that's for sure, if he can topple Alex Fontana later in the day with 30 seconds to go. Oh. He does a 141, 130, and over half a second quicker, but a big moment coming out of the chicane through turn 6 and 7. How on earth did he pick up that purple in the middle sector after that?
That cannot be from that lap, can it? Surely not.
That would be incredible. I mean, what a save. The twist of the wheel for grip. I mean, what a lap there from Christopher Haase. I mean, we see magic here at Hungaroring time on time. We allude back to what happened with Max Paul on the final lap back in 2023 for Oregon team, but that was one very special qualifying lap, because not only was it that recovery in the middle sector to take that purple middle sector, but the very fact that he has gone not just half a second away, nearly 5.5 tenths quicker than Alex Fontana in that last lap with that mistake is absolutely sensational.
And Fontana is not on a good lap here, so he's got no reply, and the checkered flag is out. I hope that's not Haase pulling over to the side of the road with a problem, and he was actually just taking rather extreme measures to get out of everyone's way. But they see the checkered flag being waved. Alfredo Hernandez there in the 77, 29th and last, I'm afraid, for the BDO Grupo Prom AM entered driver. So it's Haase top, Alex Fontana on Pro-Am pole in second place. Michele Rugolo up there in 5th position overall. Let's see if Christian Korzanowski has got one more lap left in him. He is on a flyer at the moment, trying to take the AM pole position back again. Currently down in 15th place overall. He was running much higher up earlier in the session. So I'm just keeping my eye on those sector times. This is not really turning into the lap for Korzanowski, so it looks like Ampol will go the way of Michele Rugolo as well.
Stoltz moving into 7th fastest too. Is into the pits comes Christopher Haase. So obviously managed to recover the car after what looked like a slow moment. I'd imagine probably just conscientious about traffic, but pulls up in Parc Ferme. A stunning lap from one Christopher Haase to go fastest here this season once more, and offer once again that olive branch of opportunity here for the Easterlen Racing team, who, despite having a success handicap coming into the next race, it's certainly not as bad as the one yesterday, and it will give them that opportunity to potentially go for the race win later on this afternoon. And no question, jubilance in the Easterlen garage, and all smiles on the face of Christopher Haase.
It'll be pole position for the 300th International GT Open race for Christopher Haase. A 1:41.130 puts him half a second ahead of Alex Fontana in the car collection Porsche, who starts at the head of the Pro-Am field. Then Tommaso Mosca in the AF Corsa Ferrari. Elite Motorsports, Tom Empson, and then Michele Rugolo, the silver-classed AM-entered driver, starting on pole in his class 5th overall. Then Philip Ellis in the Team Motorpark Mercedes Championship leading car. Lucas Stoltz in the number 9 Get Speed, and then Aaron Walker, Lucas Dunner and Fabio Babini for the Pro-Am contingent from Get Speed Motorpark and Tsunami. Dominic Baumann starting just outside the top 10. James Kell up to 12th in the end of the Greystone McLaren. Then Philippe Sadakada for ISR. Eduardo Bacci for Baron Motorsport. That's the Pro-Am winner from yesterday. Christian Korzanowski, second of the AM runners for Olymp. Zach Meakin down in 16th for Optimum. And then Nicholas Cruton, Amari Bondwell for BDR Grupo Prom. Antoine Dokan just ahead of his Oregon teammate Robin Rogowski. Then Marcin Jedlinski, Alexander West, Michael Blanchimont, Marcelo Ramirez down in 24th place, Laurent Demeas, Dexter Muller, Joko Malcharek, Antal Zygo, and Alfredo Hernandez completing the field. Let's hear from our pole sitter, Christopher Haase.
Hey, we are here with Dr. Haase. First pole of the year. Well done.
Yeah, it's amazing. I just have to say thanks to the team, because we worked so hard. We had a long night. We just wanted to make sure to have a perfect quali setup to maximize our tire. I had such a good grip on this one lap. It felt like a perfect lap, and I'm really happy to be in the front.
And of course, better conditions today.
Obviously, it was colder condition. This is also helping us. But yeah, overall, thank you, Easterland Racing.
So after a collection of P2s to this afternoon, victory.
This is true. We're still waiting for our first win. We still have a 10 seconds handicap at the pit stop. It's going to be hard, but you can believe me, we'll try our best to take the first victory.
Well, you're well placed. You start from the best place. Well done, Christopher. Thank you.
An incredible job from Christopher Haase, and very thankful to the East Talent team that has given him so much success in the International GT Open since joining them 2 years ago. and keeping him racing an Audi machine. Lights out for the 300th International GT Open races at 1:45 this afternoon, live from 1:30. We'll see you then.